become? It becomes a muscle. It becomes, I like to think of it as a culture of experimentation, right? Where you build a culture, you maintain a learning agenda, right? You run a set of experiments. I like to think of it, as I call it a hypothesis framework. Like, look, I have business questions. Those can be strategic. They can be very tactical. What does brand search do? But they can be very strategic. Like, what channels or what product offerings acquire the customers that I know are, more profitable for my business? Those types of questions feed a learning agenda that I think it builds on itself, right? So quarter on quarter on quarter, as you continue to unpack this, as you continue to pull the thread, as the landscape changes, as your competitive offering changes, as your brand messaging and strategy change, this is like a superpower that I think pays compounding dividends if you can actually build it into this sort of, this, like I said, this culture of experimentation where, hey, we're going to be data driven, we're going to be hypothesis driven, and we're going to put real world tests out there that drive us towards, growing value, growing brand value, acquiring better customers, new customers, things like that. I do think as the world gets more complicated, as brands talk to each other in the same channels and kind of fight over, what is thinner and thinner margins in the infinite consumer choice we have out there, I think this is one of the remaining real kind of competitive advantages that brands have that aren't based on the kind of like size and advantages that we see in the news that Apple and Google are getting taken after and things like this, right? I mean, this is a way for you to build a real world competitive advantage that will drive your brand. And look, not everybody's doing this stuff, and that's the way that I like to think about how this goes from, hey, I want to answer a question to I want to create a superpower.
Yeah, just data is turning Davids into Goliath, right? You can win on data. You don't have to necessarily be the biggest one. And I like the idea of continuous experiments. And do your clients also come back and sort of redo the same experiments over and over?